What is up, NFC East football fans, and welcome into another edition of the NFC East Roundtable powered by BetUS. The 2024 season has come and gone, and a victor has been crowned. And that victor resides within this division. The Philadelphia Eagles are your 2024 champions, getting it done in dominant fashion over the Kansas City Chiefs. We got it all for you tonight, coming your way, recapping what we saw in New Orleans from Super Bowl 59. Without further ado, let's bring in the fellas. KB, Rio, Lou filling in tonight for Jay Tuck, and the man of the hour, Eagle Al. Without even going a step forward, a round of applause to Eagle Al. Congratulations on not only a hell of a season, but one of the more impressive performances we have seen in Super Bowl history. And you know what's crazy, fellas? The Super Bowl just happened, but it's not too early to get in on next year's Super Bowl. Right now on BetUS, here are the odds for next year's winner. And what do you know? The Philadelphia Eagles are right there at the top yet again. The Eagles, Chiefs, and Ravens all tied with the best odds to win it this upcoming season. The Bills in second, the Lions in third. You can get in on the action over on BetUS.
Sneaking the Ravens in there, man.
They're sneaking them in. I know they tied them with the Eagles and the Chiefs, right? As if we weren't going to notice. You want to get in on it, use the promo code YouTube150. That'll get you 150% sign-up bonus up to $2,000 on your first deposit, and 125% bonus on your next two after that. All right, so that's for next year's Super Bowl. Let's talk about this year's Super Bowl. 40-22, fellas, and it wasn't even indicative of the type of game that we saw. It was more 40-6. Domination by the Philadelphia Eagles. 24-0 at half, 34-0 at one point. From top to bottom, one of the more complete performances we've ever seen in the big game. And when you factor in it came against a team on the doorstep of a three-peat, it makes it that much more impressive. Al, I'm going to have to start with you here because I could go around the table as I usually do and finish with you. But after a performance like that and seeing that you're the champion, it's only right you lead us off tonight. Talk to us about what your Eagles were able to accomplish this past Sunday.
Man, dominant win. I knew we was going to win. We had the better roster for sure. We should have won. But I didn't know we was going to stop Mahomes like that for basically the whole game. Jalen Hurts showed up. You know, he always show up on the biggest stage. For some reason, he's the quarterback that know how to get past that Spagnuolo's defense. For whatever reason, the 3 times he played them, he outperformed Patrick Mahomes. I just don't know why. And that defense, man. And I kept saying, if Jalen Hurts don't get the MVP, I wouldn't have been mad if Josh Sweat got it. Josh Sweat balled out of his mind. Milton Williams showed up. I thought they did a pretty good job on Jalen Carter. I think they went in with the same mindset like the masses had. If you stop Jalen Carter, if you stop Saquon Barkley, you're going to win this game. And they did exactly that. But like I've been telling y'all all year, if you force Jalen Hurts to throw it or you force those other guys to step up, they will. A.J. Brown is a star. Devontae Smith is a star. Josh Sweat could still play at a high level. Nolan Smith can play at a high level. And we still got them corners in the back. But everybody kept going with, stop Saquon, stop Jalen Carter. And I'm like, oh, okay. Go all out on that and see what happened. And that's exactly what the Chiefs did. 40-6. They got some garbage time points. And, yeah, it was just a win I did not expect, but we got it done.
25 carries, 57 yards for Saquon Barkley, 2.3 a carry, no touchdowns. You're thinking to yourself before that game, if you were to have known that stat line ahead of time, oh, man, Steve Spagnuolo, another masterclass. They somehow find a way to shut down this Eagles offense and get a W. And it was the complete opposite. Al, what do you make of Jalen Hurts' maybe 2 best performances of his career coming in this same spot, this time, of course, resulting in not only a Super Bowl victory, but an MVP? What does that say about Hurts, knowing that you didn't really need to ride him to get to this point this year, but like you just said, when you needed him the most, he was there and he cashed in?
Yeah, that's Jalen Hurts. Because only one game I could really reflect on when we needed him in the regular season. I kept bringing up the Pittsburgh Steelers, but then they'd be like, well, what he do in the other games? I'm like, he wasn't really needed because all the other teams couldn't stop Saquon Barkley. And like for some reason the Chiefs always shut down our run. Like they did it with DeAndre Swift. They did it with Miles Sanders. He only had like 13 yards the first Super Bowl. This Super Bowl they did it with Saquon Barkley. So Jalen Hurts, he just show up when it's necessary. He got the pieces to do it. He got the best O line in football. He got Dallas Goedert, Devontae Smith, and AJ Brown. You can't have all those pieces, and when it's time for you to show up, you can't. So he showed he can do it, and I thought they secondary start doing a better job towards the end of the game, or like that second quarter, third quarter is because Jalen Hurts ended up ending the game with like 72, 73 yards, broke his own record. So he did it with his legs, his arms, and he was not losing this game. He went in the mindset like I'm not losing this game. The first Super Bowl felt like the moment was big, like everybody was excited, and we lost to I don't know, we got lost in the moment. But that second time, we was ready.
Rio, it's got to make you feel pretty good knowing your Commanders were on the wrong end of one of these beatdowns. But then when you see the best team in the NFL on the verge of doing what no one in the history of the sport has done before, get a similar type of beatdown, it's got to make you feel good that it's not a Commanders problem. It's a league problem right now, the way these Eagles are playing. What did you take away from what Philly did on Sunday in the big game?
I mean, nothing about it makes me feel good, like I feel like maybe me a few years ago, possibly, but because I know a lot of our fans are like, Jaden didn't move the ball much more than Mahomes did. We were competitive, but either way, we still got 55 put on our head top. Don't make this about us. This is not about us. We cannot hate right now. We cannot throw salt or rain on this parade because they went in and stopped a team from completing the first ever 3-peat, and they made them look like a UFL team in the process. We're talking about the best quarterback of this generation. You know how the NFL loves Mahomes? Go click on the NFL YouTube page to Patrick Mahomes Super Bowl highlight cut up. That thing starts at 34-0. It starts at Imagine your highlight tape starting down 34. So I see the final score of 40-22. It's a lie. It was 40-0 to me. In the competitive parts of the game, the Chiefs did not score a point, not a field goal, not a touchdown. It felt like they didn't cross the 50-yard line for 3 quarters straight. It wasn't competitive. This was an absolute beatdown. An assassination. It was disgusting. It was disgusting what we saw on that Super Bowl field. And it's scary. It's scary to think about because that team ain't going nowhere. They may lose a couple pieces. And Howie Roseman is because he knows where all the bodies are buried, apparently, league-wide. He's gonna add something that they should not be able to add to this roster. They got a white cornerback getting pick sixes in the Super Bowl. Like, what can you say about it? Jalen Hurts is looking like everything I always say he's not. Like the Jordan commercial he got after the game, I couldn't even hate on it. I was like, this is the coldest shit I've seen. I couldn't even hate on it. I hate it because I want to hate on it so bad. I can't hate on this, bro. That is domination. They dominated on all fronts. Vic Fangio has that defense so damn good that Mahomes was running for his life for 60 minutes with no blitzes. They're winning with 4 down linemen, bro. They stopped Jalen Carter, and you watch the rest of their linemen completely just decimate the front of the Kansas City Chiefs. It was something to see. I'm telling you, it was a sight to behold on Sunday. I was like, I know the Eagles is good, and I knew all week that they were going to probably win the game, even though I was trying to will it to go the opposite way. I felt like they were going to win, but like that, I don't think anyone could have predicted, bro. They made the Chiefs look like the moment was too big for them. I ain't even like the body language or the faces I saw from Mahomes. And like the Eagles looked so locked in coming into the game, coming after the coin toss and stuff. Mahomes looked strange. Travis Kelce looked strange. He was dressed up like a damn porn cowboy at the beginning of the game.
Taylor Swift got him whipped. I don't know what to say.
Mahomes got the eagle green suit on. It just felt so odd going into it and watching it take place. You would never think in a game where Saquon Barkley is at like 2 yards. Saquon Barkley was out there looking like Brian Robinson Jr. and they still put up a mercy 40. Eagles could have did so much more. They should have scored. I wanted them to score more than they scored on us.
They could have.
I was like, please give them 60, bro.
In the Super Bowl would be crazy.
I'm still reeling from 55 on our head tops because that did not feel like a 55-point performance. But there's nothing you can say to diminish or take away what the Eagles just did. But every other team in the league, we all got our hands full because you're building up to stop that. That's the problem that isn't going away that everybody has to deal with going forward. Shout out to Howie Roseman and them boys for putting together that roster. Y'all got my respect. Y'all got it, man.
Speaking of respect, Stacking 95 is saying put some respect on my quarterback's name. No question about it. Jalen Hurts balled out. This whole team balled out, especially the defense. Like Rio mentioned, 6 sacks on 16 pressures, both career highs for Patrick Mahomes, forcing 3 turnovers. It was just unlike anything we've ever seen against these Chiefs. KB, I mean, you're watching this one unfold. Were you shocked, but based on how easily Philadelphia was able to handle what would have been the 3-time champs this past Sunday? 3-time in a row champs, I should say.
Yeah. When we were talking about it last week, I mentioned that, my heart says, Kansas City, but my brain said Philadelphia Eagles, and I think I ultimately went with the Eagles there because you look across the board, especially what they did against Washington, their whole ride getting to the Super Bowl, they were just absolutely dominant, absolutely locked in. And we've always said this whole entire season, Kansas City was the first seed in the AFC, but they don't look like the Kansas City Chiefs of prior years. Like, they look very beatable. We've seen multiple games where they came down to the wire with teams like the Carolina Panthers, so, and I just felt like it amazing performance by the Eagles. I got to give it to you guys. 95 points in the 2 most important games of the season in the championship game. That's absolutely insane. We got to look up a stat on that. I don't know if a team has put up that much points in the championship game and Super Bowl. But you can also make a case that Vic Fangio probably should have won Assistant Coach of the Year, just being what he did with that defense, because they were coming out, from last season being one of the worst defenses in the NFL. They draft extremely well. They, get that defense in shape, and they are the best defense right now in the NFL. And they showed it on the biggest stage in the world. The defense was absolutely stout. I mean, like Rio said, it was 40-0 in my book, honestly. It was 40-0. I mean, the Eagles did not care what happened afterwards when they started putting up points. It was a bloodbath. And honestly, this was probably the biggest beatdown I've ever seen watching the Super Bowl. You can look back at the Broncos Seahawks game that was like 43-8 or something like that. But I don't know, man. Maybe it's a recency thing, but this just looks like the biggest beatdown I've ever seen. And Mahomes just didn't look right. He couldn't get nothing going with Travis Kelce at all. They were shutting him down. And it's crazy, like Rio said as well. They were doing everything. Like, if you were to sit down in, planning this out, how to beat the Philadelphia Eagles, they did that. They stopped Saquon, and they forced the Eagles to throw the ball, but they had nothing for their defense, though. They didn't have anything for their defense. They couldn't get the ball rolling, and it wasn't until like the third quarter or something like that where they finally passed the 50-yard line, and with Xavier Worthy, I think, and Xavier Worthy just padded the stats with like an insane stat line, and it helped out Patrick Mahomes, but man, it sucks. It sucks seeing the Philadelphia Eagles do that because I wanted to enjoy the game and I wanted to enjoy history, kind of. Like, I wanted to, like, the Eagles doing that to the Chiefs is history, and I have to hate it because it's the Eagles, But yeah, shout out to you guys. That was incredible performance. It's gonna go down as one of the most boring Super Bowls if you're not an Eagles fan. But
I want to know what that feeling is like to tear down a city like that, like they did after the game. I want to know what that feels like, man.
My God, the Philadelphia mayor talking about, please don't climb the poles. Please don't climb the poles is crazy.
I want to be a part of it, man.
I was just gonna say you'd have to pull me down from the top of that pole in Buffalo. It would take you a month before I came down from that thing. No wonder they got to grease them up. But this isn't new territory for Philly right now. I mean, considering where they've been the last decade or so, they have been one of the best teams in football, and they showed it last night. And as is the third is saying, the way Rio talks about the Eagles, like they are the boogeyman of the NFL. If they're not the boogeyman, then I don't know who is, because they were the boogeyman this past Sunday. And if you can slay the dragon the way that they did, it's hard to deny that the Philadelphia Eagles right now are something special. And Rio, you alluded to it. They're going nowhere anytime soon. That's a young team in all the right spots, especially that defense that was the difference maker in this game.
It's gotta be Jaden to do it, man. It's gonna have to be Jaden.
Jaden's gotta be next in line, right? He's the only hope.
It's gotta be 5, man.
Well, according to Lou's Cowboys and Dak Prescott, they're not far off, apparently, from the Philadelphia Eagles. Lou, you're watching this game unfold Sunday, and what was your big takeaway from watching these Eagles just dominate in the Super Bowl?
I hated it. I hated every minute of it. I hated every minute of it. But the Eagles, because I made I made a comment last week saying that, it was going to be a close game, certain, schemes and everything like that. But the Eagles have literally proven that X's and O's, it's all about the Jimmies and Joes. Because I literally said in the playoffs, especially in the Super Bowl, all these teams going to make you do is play left-handed. Spags did that. They took away y'all run game, and finally Kellen Moore got to be Kellen Moore. And he tested the waters with that little jump ball down on the 9 route to AJ Brown, but he got called back. I was like, oh man, the fact that he got it so easily, even though they called it back, I'm like, they finna be doing this all game. And then you talked about on the defensive side how they took away Jalen Carter, but you're asking your offensive line, who you're already moved around and shuffled, putting Thuney at the tackle and asking them to block one-on-one versus this D line. You made the Eagles play left-handed, but you found out that they right-hand like the Quagmire meme. You feel me? So it's just crazy. And then I'm kind of glad that you did not put 50 up on these guys, because the Chiefs have lost both their Super Bowls the exact same way, both in embarrassing fashion, with Mahomes being running for his life. And if you would have beat them even more, we probably would have got a three-peat in the next 3 years, because the Chiefs going to come back even more angrier. They're going to build that team up. But shout out to the Eagles. Y'all built the team the exact same way, not capping out on talent. Like, continue. Y'all names are in Myles Garrett talks. Like, y'all just chill out. Like, you know what I'm saying? Chill out.
Go away.
Like, for real, just go away. But I gotta tip my hat to them, even though I hate it so much.
Alex coming in with a little bit of a unique, interesting stat here based on what we were talking about earlier with the 95 points combined in the AFC or the NFC and championship in the Super Bowl. Alex is telling us the Eagles scored 145 points combined this postseason, most all time in a postseason. And they saved their best for last, 55 in that championship game, 40 in the Super Bowl. And I mean, really, they could have scored 50 if they wanted to. The foot was firmly off the gas pedal heading into the fourth. It was crazy.
Can we fast forward to the offseason?
We're here now.
I've been in the draft since a month ago, Rio. Y'all catching up now.
Hey, what's it like in draft land?
I'm happy there's more people coming, though. I'm happy there's more people coming.
We on evaluating 5th round picks. That's how long we've been here.
Yep. We're on the sleepers.
I know it. It's crazy. This time of the year is just the absolute worst. You're starting to get the blues set in about a week later. But look at Al. There's no reason for you to be upset. You get to ride this all the way through into next season. Speaking of next season, you're watching this on Sunday, and it seemed like, people forget the Eagles go to the Super Bowl last year, decline in a way that no one saw coming, especially the way they started the year. Now bounce back like this. You watch Sunday, and then you look at the NFC, and you know that the Commanders are on the rise. You know that the Lions have been one of the better teams in football the last couple of years. But based on what we've seen from the NFC collectively, nothing's looked quite like that looked Sunday. As it stands right now, how confident are you heading into next year maintaining this top spot? Because, like I said, no one has looked like Philly looked on Sunday.
Oh man, I'm extremely confident. I'm gonna watch the Commanders, see what they do with all that cap space. But I'm extremely confident. All these teams coming out the woodwork saying they're gonna slay the Eagles. The Lions want to play us week 1. The Cowboys want to play us week 1. Commanders want to play us week 1. Lions saying, yeah, we could show y'all what we do with a healthy defense. I'm like, yo, Jared Goff, do y'all forget he threw 4 picks the last time?
Turnovers.
That's what I'm saying. I don't know where these Lions fans coming from. The only team I really see that can compete is within our division, because they the one with the money. They got the quarterback. They fit some things here and there. They can compete. But
Niners?
Niners, it's a disconnect there. The Niners feel like how we felt in 2023. Debo want to leave. Are they sure about Brock Purdy? A
Debo
lot
gotta
of
be
them are
here.
questioning. Yeah, a lot of people questioning they coach now. Christian McCaffrey might be too old. He too injury prone. So it's a disconnect there. I mean, you could say the Rams, and I see a lot of Rams fans talking too, blaming the snow. But I'm like, we beat y'all home twice. Y'all give us good weather. I could make the excuse that we dropped 4 picks against the Rams because of the snow. AJ Brown dropped the touchdown because of the snow. So I don't really see like, oh, somebody's going to take our spot. It's between the Commanders and maybe the Lions, but I don't trust Jared Goff. I just don't trust him. Whereas though Jaden Daniels, his first year, made it to the NFC Championship game. So
Especially with the losing both of their coordinators too. Like, whoa,
Right.
that's a big deal.
Yeah, right.
because
Yeah,
that happened to us 2023. I didn't even mention that. Is the real thing that happened was we let go our experienced defensive coordinator, offensive coordinator, and we just tried to promote within, and it didn't work because there was year one guys. They didn't know how to adjust when we start losing, and we just stayed on that same track. That's why we went with Fangio experience, and we had got Kellen Moore. So it's going to be interesting what we do with the offensive coordinator too. Do we get an experienced guy again?
Rio, you know you're capable of beating the Lions because you waxed them in the divisional, but then you saw what happened in the NFC Championship. Then you see what happens in the Super Bowl. If you're GM Adam Peters watching on Sunday and then going back and watching what happened to you guys in that championship game, what is going through his mind heading into the offseason with about as much cap room as anybody? What's going through his mind where he can confidently say heading into the 2025 season, we have set ourselves up to be given a chance to get over this hump that is Philly?
The path is clear. Like, we need that. We got to build that. You know, it's not saying get it all in one off season, but you've got the luxury that you build a contender immediately. You hit right on the quarterback spot. That does a whole bunch in terms of development. You hit on a lot of veterans, a lot of 1 year. We didn't have to break the bank for really anybody. But the team needs playmakers, they need speed, and they need game changers. Jaden needs some help. Jaden looked ready in the NFC Championship game versus Philly. They ended up dogging us, but the quarterback was ready. He didn't look phased. The quarterback looked 1,000 times better than Pat looked in the Super Bowl. Didn't win the game, but he didn't have enough around him. He can't help it that dudes is fumbling the ball while he's moving the ball down the field, stuff like that. We need guys who can do things with the ball in their hands. So the way I feel it is go out and aggressively upgrade the defense, especially up front. You know, go get Myles Garrett. I think Myles Garrett makes a ton. I think everybody's trying to pitch in to get Myles Garrett to DC because folks want to see that. And they don't want to see Philly mess around and trade for a Myles Garrett. But go make a big move like that. We're picking 29th in the draft. We're not picking it 5, 7, 15, 17 anymore. We're picking it 29th. That's damn near a second round pick. Go aggressively pursue some talent up front. Go in and maximize the rookie contract of your young superstar quarterback. Ain't gonna be no sophomore slumps on this side. I don't care how much tape you got on them. Good quarterbacks have tape out on them, and they continue to walk down teams every year. Jaden is of that cloth. We coming. We know what we looking up to, and it's definitely Philly. And you're not gonna sit here and hear me say, "Oh nah, but we better." Or no, it's them, and we need to catch them. So we got some work to do. We got some money. We got hella picks. And we got a superstar at that quarterback position. And a lot of teams can't say the same in that conference.
I was going to say, why don't y'all try to, do what the Eagles did, throw a lot of money at the offensive side and then just pick up guys on the defensive side, hope it work. Because that's what we did. Like Zach Bond, $3 million? He was like on the minimum. The only guy we really paid was CJ Gardner-Johnson. Y'all want to call him like the top 5 on the defense. Everything else was just draft picks and
we got to get some guys that can stop the run because everybody with a running back ran all over us last year. And
that's a Dan Quinn thing right there.
That is that apparently is it carried Dallas right over this way. Defense improved tremendously except for against the run.
Let's look at it from the Chiefs side of things, fellas, because we had the opportunity to witness something that has never happened before on Sunday. And not only did it not happen, but it didn't come close to happening. These Chiefs got destroyed. Patrick Mahomes, based on the majority of any prominent metric in the first half, had his worst performance of his career. Looks a little better at the end, but that's because it all came in garbage time. This was one of the worst performances from Pat. This was one of the worst performances from a coaching perspective from Andy Reid, this team in totality. And for a team that has solidified themselves at the top of the league for the last handful of years here, this was shocking to watch. KB, I'll start with you. Any effect on the Chiefs moving forward here, or any effect on Mahomes' legacy, perhaps, based on what we saw on Sunday?
I don't know how we can say it will affect too much of Mahomes' legacy. Like, I compare it to like LeBron, right? LeBron's lost multiple times in the finals before. And I mean, although Mahomes got, destroyed twice in Super Bowls, he still has 3 rings. So I don't know how much it would affect a legacy like Mahomes. It's going to happen. If you make it to multiple Super Bowls, you're probably going to lose some. I mean, that's just the reality of it. So I don't think it really affects Mahomes' legacy. As far as them getting back to the Super Bowl, I mean, nothing's far out of the realm of possibility for them. They can definitely make it back to the Super Bowl and continue on their journey. Would they lose more Super Bowls in the future? I think a lot of more fans and analysts would probably be not as sure as years past, just picking the Chiefs. Oh, the Chiefs are going to win. The Chiefs are going to win. Now everybody's kind of going to weigh it out, because now there's film in the Super Bowl of 2 times of Mahomes getting absolutely steamrolled in the Super Bowl. So I don't think it affects their legacy. I think this is just a stumbling block for them. I mean, it's a bad loss. I mean, it's a good problem to deal with. How can we continuously win in the Super Bowl and stop losing Super Bowls? I mean, some people can't even, some teams can't even make it to one. So, like, I don't know. It's a good problem to have.
Lou, how do you view the Chiefs after this game moving forward?
Yeah, I'm scared for them. Well, not from my perspective. They're gonna be a sleeping giant. Like I said, they've lost the exact same way when they play the Buccaneers, like when they played Tom Brady. That defense got after him. And the thing about the Chiefs, they have the formula. Like, they know how to get there. It's a mentality from all of in that organization. It's just not talent. So Travis Kelce needs to retire immediately. I don't know. Maybe you switch it out. Maybe it's time to bring Tyreek Hill back, because he needs some type of dynamic weapon. And then they're gonna fix the offensive line. Patrick Mahomes is not gonna play that. They're gonna fix that offensive line, and they're gonna sure back up that defense. And the AFC is gonna have to deal with them again, because like, they have the formula and they have the mantra to get buy-in and just come back and be even better than what they were before. They see what their mistakes are, and they're not like the Cowboys. They're not going to sit there and just be like, oh well. No, they tasted that high of a championship, and they want to go back.
Rio, you feeling the same way, or you think we might see a decline, hopefully, from Kansas City here?
They're not going nowhere, man. See, we can have fun. We can have fun because that's what social media is for. That's what clip culture is for. And it's what you've done for me lately. But they're going to probably be back in this game again next year, because this is what the Chiefs do. When is I know that's your guy. When is Josh Allen or Lamar Jackson shown us that they're going to beat this team? They haven't shown us in the playoffs that they're going to beat this team yet. Travis Kelce, he should probably go create a family with his superstar girlfriend and move on, but they will find a way to retool. They're going to add a young running back from this stacked class. They're going to find some weapons to add to that offense, and they're going to be right back here in this game next year. We need to relax, bro. Tom Brady lost twice in the Super Bowl to the Worser Manning brother and to Nick Foles in the Super Bowl. That's 3 losses, and his 4th ring, I don't believe, came till he was 37 years old. Mahomes is not 30 yet. We all need to pump the brakes. While it sounds good that, the dynasty is finished, it's not. It's not. They're like the Spurs. They're just gonna always find a way to be in the mix by the time the end of the year. Unless Mahomes just stops playing football, this team is gonna be in the conversation to be in this game every year going forward. While it's fun to kick them while it's down, because kicking people while they're down, it's messed up, but it's fun. It's fun, especially in the day of social media where everybody has a say about everything, and what you bring to a conversation, millions can see it. But the Chiefs are going to be right back here when it's all said and done, man. That's what they do.
It's a good point you bring up, Rio. Al, your Eagles have been a pain in the ass of the two modern-day dynasties. I mean, they really have, and they finally get one over Mahomes after they had eventually gotten one over the Patriots in improbable fashion. So the way that you see it, you obviously think these Eagles will get back here again next year. Based on what we saw, why wouldn't they? Do you think Kansas City is back here for a third time against you guys, or are you anticipating maybe a decline after what we saw on Sunday?
Man, if they was on the NFC, I would say yes. But that AFC, man, I get it. Y'all got the greatest of greatest quarterbacks. But for some reason, Patrick Mahomes had all their numbers to the CJ Strouds, to the Josh Allens, Lamar Jacksons, Joe Burrow. His team can't even get in the playoffs to compete. It's just he has the AFC by the throat. So it's like I can see them going back. Like, this was the decline. That's the scary thing about the Chiefs.
Yeah,
this was the decline year. This was the year I felt like it was supposed to be the Eagles and Bills, and maybe it could have been a better game, but for some reason, Patrick Mahomes always get over that hump on the AFC side. So I will not be surprised. I got to see how the rest of the AFC retool. Maybe I give the Ravens a shot, but Ravens can't get past the Bills. Bills can't get past the Chiefs. And the Texans in them is in that wild card. And Joe Burrow got to get in the playoffs. So I can see them back again, man. But can they beat somebody on the NFC? That's the big question. I don't know. I don't see them beating the Eagles, Rams, honestly, even the Commanders. Commanders will even give them a fight. So,
I ain't gonna hold you. We might have smoked them boys too.
but your defense not like ours though. It would have been
a shootout. It would have been a shootout. It would have been a shootout.
So
funny stat: all of our Super Bowls ended dynasties. Y'all notice that? Giants ended the Patriots.
Yeah,
that's a good point.
Yeah, the Commanders. I forgot. Y'all ended some. I forgot.
We ended. I don't know if we ended.
It was in the 90s. It was in the 90s.
Like we beat
the
Bills
Cowboys and the Commanders collectively.
Listen, none of us were born anyway.
Yeah, it was the Bills.
So we're talking about the Chiefs, obviously being a team that everybody wants to decline, like Rio said. But the way I see it, until they lose in the wild card or the divisional, there's no way you can anticipate a downfall here. It's been 7 consecutive AFC championships for Mahomes as a starter. So we've seen them lose like this before, fellas, in the Super Bowl. They would only go on to lose Tyreek Hill and then win 2 more of these and get back to a third. So we will see if the downfall is in the cards, but I don't think we can anticipate it as of right now. Now, Rio, you mentioned that when guys are down, we like to kick them. But when guys are up, people like to say some things that may be a little bit hyperbolic. And I'm looking at my man Scotty here, who's saying Hurts is top 3 quarterback, but y'all not ready for that convo.
Recency bias is insane.
Al, I'll let you defend Scotty here before I let the other 3 pick this one apart.
Look, with Jalen Hurts is that I think by the numbers, it's going to be hard for him to ever get an MVP. Because Howie Roseman is going to keep building these dynasty teams. But what I would say is when it's time, when you call Jalen Hurts, like, hey, Jalen Hurts, can you win this game for us? Can you show up big? He would say, absolutely, I can do it. So as long as like Saquon, I think this is going to be a thing. We're just going to get really good running backs from now on. As long as those type of guys there, like the A.J. Browns and the Devontae Smiths, Jalen Hurts will always be overlooked because they're like, well, even if he have a year with good stats, I'm like, well, he got all these pieces. He got Howie Roseman. He got a good old line. So it really doesn't matter because if Josh Allen or Jaden Daniels was there, they'd throw 6,000 yards. That's going to always be the argument. And even with the Nick Sirianni thing, just to derail a little bit, he'd never get coach of the year. They're like, well, you got Vic Fangio. Like Andy Reid don't got spaz, but you got Vic Fangio. Howie Roseman is getting the best offensive coordinator for you. So you can never be coach of the year. Forget the collapse. He comes back and win the Super Bowl. But same thing with Jalen Hurts. It's just going to be the weapons. Howie Roseman is Jalen Hurts' kryptonite of winning the MVP or ever be considered top 3.
It's
a
hard
good-
to be like. It's hard to look at an individual when the entire team is so stacked. You know what I'm saying? It's hard to give an individual an individual award when the entire team is like amazing. So,
And we all want those problems. Like that's
yes, those
Yeah.
are great problems to have. Exactly.
Right.
It's
like-
not even, yeah. It's in big, and Al said it. Like he was debating to give him the MVP to the defense because that's who really won. Is like, come on now, like from 4 sacks, they got a pick 6. Like context matters, y'all. We're not hating on the kid. We want to be in the same situation, but the facts are the facts. You know.
Yeah, I mean, Sweat got a couple MVP votes. I wonder if Hurts didn't drop that dime to Smith to end the
That's
game.
what sealed
wonder,
it. That's what sealed it to
That
me.
would make
That's
sure-
what I said. That's what I
So
said.
cold,
Because
man.
I was
I
going
know he
back
had
and
it in
forth
him,
on
man.
it. I was going back and forth with my chat. I was like, listen, I really don't know who is MVP. It's not like determined yet. It could be Josh Sweat. It's Jalen Hurts. Those are my 2 candidates. Some people said Cooper DeJean. Then he dropped that dime to like kind of seal it off. I'm like, all right, Jalen got it. Jalen got it already. Yeah.
And you know what? Like beyond that throw, like he had the pick, obviously, but 17 of 22, he led the team in rushing. Nobody would have anticipated that. He led the game in rushing. So he deserved it. It's just that's how great the defense was, where it was like you just felt like somebody should get something on that defense the way that they played. Okay, so Lou, I'll start with you here when we're talking about Hurts here. The way I see it, man, nobody's played better in the Super Bowl really the last handful of years than Hurts. The last 2 times he's been in there. Now, top 3 conversation, where do you weigh in on that when it comes to Jalen Hurts?
Yeah. You don't want to hear my answer. Hey, I appreciate you showing up in the big game. I really do, but I value the path as much as the trophy. I'm sorry. I need to see like the difference between like the top end of the quarterbacks and the lower end is they constantly show up. They're consistently showing up. It's not, just in the big games. It's in the lower games. It's in, and I'm sorry, like the team around him is just abnormally good. Mm-hmm. Now there is a world where he can, impress us. I'm just not going to say it's impossible, but what we've seen so far, like let's not act like Saquon did not carry this team there.
Yeah, I
Literally.
think. And when you factor in Lamar, the argument against him was Derrick Henry was on the precipice of 2000. Jalen Hurts had 2000 from Saquon, plus maybe the best defense in the league, plus the offensive line. That is the problem here, and I think you made a great point out where you are constantly punished for how great the team is. And the best point I thought you made was the head coach of the year. I mean, Andy Reid should probably be coach of the year every year, but he's never going to win it because we expect the Chiefs to be what they are every year, and that's what happens.
Can we all admit that Dan Quinn should have been the coach of the year this year?
And Dan Quinn was right up there, in my opinion.
Who won?
Who got it?
Kevin O'Connell, because they have these awards picked out the day after the regular season.
You got to give it to Kevin O'Connell. I'm sorry, like they went down
number 1 seed.
Yeah.
No, not number 1. They weren't number 1 seed. They weren't number 1.
They were wild.
Yeah, wild card. They were fighting for number 1.
14 games, but
yeah.
Did they turn a 4-win team to an NFC championship?
They walked in with a backup. Come on,
I mean, they got Sam Darnold though. Come on, man. They had Sam Darnold.
We had a rookie.
Jaden Daniels. Look how you talk about Jaden Daniels. He's like Jesus.
Name one player on that Vikings defense. Go.
I was just about to say that. Name one. Just about to say
Brian Flores. But did Brian Flores win Assistant of the Year though? Because he didn't.
I think the one main reason O'Connell won it, this stat to me solidified it. They opened the year with a projected over-under win total of 6.5, and they won 14. In the modern era of sports books, it was the greatest discrepancy from projected wins in a season to actual wins. So I think that had a lot to do with it.
Ours was 5.5. We won 12.
You have plenty of arguments, I think. I mean, listen, Dan Quinn resurrected the Commanders from the dead. The Vikings have been around for some time.
They were a 7-win team last year. They did double up their wins, but if they had a starting quarterback last year, they're in the playoffs last season. So did they really get that much? Like, they didn't even win a playoff game, even though I know playoffs don't count in coach of the year, but they should. Like,
I think they should too. Yeah.
The whole award thing is fascinating to me. There's a ton of things I feel like the NFL should do about it that they just won't do. I feel like they should add a receiver of the year so that way you can recognize different players, offensive lineman of the year. There's
lineman
different
of the
things.
year,
Yeah. KB, let's go to you. When you're thinking about Jalen Hurts in this top 3 argument, what's your whole stance on that?
What I'm gonna say this because recency bias is crazy. I don't think there were many people that put Jalen Hurts probably like in the top 8 to 10 before the playoffs started and before things started ramping up. To be honest with you, if you look like QB indexes and stuff like that, saying that he's top 3 is insane to me. Now, if you want to put him right now in like the top 7, sure, but I mean, 3 off the top of my head is Patrick Mahomes, Josh Allen, and Lamar Jackson. Is he better than those 3 guys? Absolutely not. I mean, Jalen Hurts has come a long way. This is not even hate on Jalen Hurts. He's come a long way as a quarterback. I mean, his story is crazy, especially just how he developed as a quarterback. He's come a long way. But to put him right there in the top 3, I think you'd be extremely crazy to say that. So no, definitely not. Definitely.
He beat all 3 of them quarterbacks.
Lamar's wide receiver 1. Hey, wins are not a QB stat. I'll argue that. Lamar's
yeah, Dak Prescott.
So
put my quarterback in the Hall of Fame, please. My God,
I was shocked. Super Bowl, man.
I was shocked, KB. By the way, first ballot snub. I thought that Manning name would have been enough to propel it. Him and Vinatieri shocked me.
They don't like Eli.
Rio. Why is there a 4-person class, by the way?
I know that. I know
because they didn't want to put Eli in. That's why he would have been the 5th one. I'm telling you.
I don't know. Adam Vinatieri, the greatest kicker of all time, first ballot Hall of Fame kicker ever. Wouldn't he not? I don't know. A couple.
They
of
don't want first ballots anymore. I think is what it is.
It's because I feel like the bar has been lowered a bit, and now like Dion had mentioned, there should be a Hall of Fame of the Hall of Fame. Maybe that's kind of what they're doing now. Who knows?
Rio, all those old guys from back before football was even a thing in there. Like they'll save the one slot for them, and it's like
all the black and white, like pre-prohibition players.
Well, we lost their film because we literally physically lost their film,
because we did not have cameras invented yet. We did not have Rio top 3. You hear that when it comes to Hurts? I know you got something to say about that.
I think like Eagles fans, they can say whatever they want for the next year until they're dethroned. And while we have to kind of just take it on the chin, because when you're the champs, you're the champs. And when you win in that fashion, you got it. Hurts once again outplayed. He's the only person in the world that can say I outplayed Mahomes in 2 Super Bowls. So, they can say all that. But the top 4 quarterbacks in the league, we already know who they are. It's Mahomes, Allen, Jackson, Burrow. We're trying to figure out who number 5 is. And it ain't Jalen Hurts. I like Jalen Hurts' run that he just went on. I respect the hell out of it, and he got it right now. He cold as hell. It ain't Jalen Hurts, man. And we can have some fun conversations going into this season about who the best quarterback in the NFC is, because I like my guy against anybody in the conference. He's going into his 2nd season. I think Hurts is up there, but full body of work, man. We can't just look at the Super Bowl and say, he the best. He the best. He got it. Conversation over. But like I said, you can say whatever you want when you won the Super Bowl, or you just hold up the Super Bowl MVP and the Lombardi Trophy, and that's going to be repellent to anything we have to say. So it don't even really matter. Right?
To be fair to Jalen Hurts, it's hard to put him in like a top 3 conversation when your running back had literally broke the record for like all-purpose scrimmage yards in a season with like over 2,600, including the Super Bowl. So like it's hard to put Jalen Hurts in the conversation when Saquon's eating up all those yards and all that production. So.
You know who this sound like?
Because I was going to say Baltimore. That's the reason why they didn't go to the Super Bowl. They should have used Derrick Henry more.
I mean,
my personal opinion.
Do you know who you sound like with that statement? You sounded just like literally the conversation with Eli Manning. Like it sounded just like Eli Manning. How he beat the GOAT twice. No, context matters, my guy. We ain't gonna put you up there in that conversation.
I think the Hall of Fame ballot said, "Ma'am, you had like 5 terrible seasons in your career."
Look at the team. Look at the team.
Bro.
That boy threw for 1,000 interceptions.
They've been terribly built for over half of Eli's career.
There was some Giants account after the Chiefs-Bills championship game. It went semi-viral, and he had said, if prime Eli was the quarterback of the Bills in that game, they win going away. And it was one of the funniest things I had seen in forever. That was the whole argument. Because of the 2 unbelievable throws that he had in the Super Bowl, that correlates to, of course, being maybe the most clutch quarterback ever.
Prime Eli just sounds like a hilarious statement.
Hey, Prime Eli was putting belt to ass in the playoffs, okay?
He
still has the most passing yards in a postseason in NFL history. And not Mahomes, not Brady, not anybody. Jalen Hurts even is going to top that. So
Bradshaw and Brandon Jacobs. I remember that.
Yeah.
That boy's Linsanity playoff runs with something serious, bro. Two of them.
Dogs coming in. Now, this is an argument I could hear out. Most points in the postseason, most turnovers forced in the postseason, top 5 team all time, only getting better. I think there is a considerable debate that Eagles team we just watched on Sunday is one of the best orchestrated teams that we've seen in a very long time. Sure. I mean, I think history is going to be very kind to that team based on not what they did, but when you just talk about the household names too. I mean, this team's got it all, not just the talent, but of course the star power too. I think there's a significant argument that this Eagles team could very well go down into a short list of teams in terms of how great they were. Dank Bird Game 5-2-5-9. I like that handle. Dank Bird Gang. It doesn't get better than that. What recency bias? NFL Top 100 had Hurts top 15. He was the 4th highest rated QB. He was an MVP candidate after the Bills game last year, runner-up in 2022. I think honestly, Al, this might be a badge of honor. The fact that you guys can win a game the way that you did Sunday, and Hurts isn't a top 3 to most people, I think is more impressive than doing it with a top quarterback.
That's a flex.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's just one of those things where you know how teams are or fans are. We sensitive about our quarterbacks. Let's be honest.
I respect
so it's like anybody or anyone you could attack on the team. There's 2 guys on the Eagles, Jalen Hurts and Nick Sirianni. For some reason, those are 2 guys a lot of people go after. But I feel like he's like top 5, top 7 is quarterback. And like Dank Bergen said, one point he was a runner-up. He almost beat out Tom Brady, but he got hurt against like the Bears. 2023, before the collapse, he was a runner-up because the team was bad. He was asked to step up a lot. But this year, he was kind of asked to game manage. But hey, when your number's called, win the game, and that's what he did. So
yeah, and there's something to be said about the willingness to be that game manager and allow Saquon to. I mean, you look around the league, how many guys would be willing to do that? It's certainly another badge of honor. I think these are things that get overlooked that I think are compliments to what the team the Philadelphia Eagles have built is. I mean, the ability to have an argument that he's outside of even the top 5, the ability to say that he was willing to step back and allow Saquon to do what he did. I think all of those things are impressive. We could talk about the Super Bowl all night, fellas. Obviously, I know, Al, you can't get enough of it.
Let's go through the offseason.
Let's transition to some potential a potential shakeup at quarterback in this division. Could another all-time great be entering in? Rumor has it that the LA Rams might be looking to move off of Matt Stafford, and I would be remiss to not ask KB his thoughts on the idea of Stafford potentially being a New York Giant this upcoming year. KB, these rumors have been circulating heavily the last 24 hours. Give me your thoughts on that idea and whether or not you'd sign up for it.
A little bit of the lore, what's going on. This was a meme thing by a Giants account. Ethan GSN or something like that. It was like he was like doing that all over on Twitter during the season about Matt Stafford to the Giants, and he kind of like brought the meme to life. I don't know where this came from. It was just a joke about Matt Stafford coming to the Giants, and it's like it seems like it's happening. I don't know if it's actually happening. The Giants just hired a new offensive assistant. What was it? A new assistant quarterbacks coach, and it just so happens to be Matt Stafford's brother-in-law. So now that's adding fuel to the fire. There's a big Colin Cowherd clip going around right now where I think he's trying to make it seem like he talked to somebody from the Rams, but I don't think he talked to anybody from the Rams. Just the way that he kind of went about making the video. He proposed that the Giants give up the 3rd overall pick for Matt Stafford, which I think is absolute insanity. I would never do that as much as I love Matt Stafford. I mean, I think that the debate has to start with a second round pick, not the 3rd overall pick. That's absolutely crazy because, I mean, just think about what the Giants are right now. I think that if the Giants were to make a desperate move like that, they'll just be doing it selfishly to save their own jobs. Because if they give up the 3rd overall pick for Matt Stafford, you're pretty much giving up a pick with that kind of value for about max 2 years, because you're not going to re-sign Matt Stafford, and you may only have him for 1 year. So that doesn't make any sense. And Matt Stafford on a team like the Giants right now doesn't make any sense for the Giants right now. I think according to, I think it was PFF, Matt Stafford had like 4 scrambles all season last season, and if you want to be a Giants quarterback, you're gonna have to scramble, because it's one of the worst offensive lines put together year to year basis. So it just doesn't make any sense. And Matt Stafford is 37 years old. I mean, what do you expect to do? Win 7 or 8 games, be in the abyss of the NFL draft, stuck in the middle where you're not that high up and you're not that far low down to get a top quarterback in the draft? It doesn't make any sense right now. So I don't like it. I don't know if the Giants would be stupid enough to do it, but if they trade the 3rd overall pick for Matt Stafford, I probably wouldn't be here the same week, because I would have broken my entire setup. So, yeah, that's just, it shouldn't happen. It's probably not going to happen. It's crazy. No.
Speaking of shakeups, by the way, Al, you do win the Super Bowl, of course, but you do lose Kellen Moore as a result. He becomes the head coach of the Saints. And Lou, I'll have you weigh in on this as well, a former coach of the Cowboys. You're watching the departure of Kellen Moore unfold here. Huge loss. Is it something that you're concerned about, or is this team just good enough to overcome just about anything here?
Oh, you're talking me?
No, Al, go ahead. Sorry.
Oh, me? Oh, okay. I think we can overcome it for sure. I got to see what we do and who do we hire. I don't want us to hire within, in my personal opinion. I want us to step outside. But the one thing I give Kellen Moore over the other offensive coordinators we had in the past is that Lou gonna hear he ain't gonna like this at all. But he committed to the run. I know a lot of Cowboys fans kept saying that to us, like he had never commit to the run.
He sure
and
did.
he did that for sure.
You have Saquon. I mean,
y'all tied him down to the post and y'all gave him the good talk. That's what it is.
You know how many offensive coordinators we did that? They're like, nah, we gonna.
None of them had Saquon Barkley.
That's true.
This is true.
But if you could get an offensive coordinator that could commit to the run and not get too pass happy, especially in today's game, a lot of offensive coordinators want to throw the ball. I'll be okay with that. I don't think his plays were that great or that phenomenal. We've seen the Super Bowl, so that's the last thing on our mind. Mm-hmm. But if you watch the season, some of our passing concepts, hell, Rio thought Jalen Hurts couldn't throw anymore. Like, so I'm like, yo, he can. It's just I don't know what Kellen Moore is doing with the passing game. He got the run game right, but the passing game is just not really there. And so we'll be okay. I'm telling you, watch the Saints and watch how they play call and stuff. It's going to be odd, but
He's gonna be out of there in 2
we'll
years.
be all right. Yeah, like 2 years. He'll be out of there.
it was a weird hire. I don't think you should.
Yeah, Lou, I mean, from your perspective, I mean, obviously there was an idea that Kellen Moore could have been the Cowboys head coach this year. It didn't work out, but he's the Saints head coach now. So I'm guessing based on your reaction here, you don't think it's going to work out in New Orleans for him.
Yeah, I don't. I love Kellen Moore. You know, I was a Boise State fan when I was little.
Yeah,
I'm a Boise State fan. Let's go.
Yeah, I love it.
I'm hooking horns now.
Man.
But yeah, like I'm sorry, Al. Y'all, I know. I paid attention to y'all's community. Y'all held that man to the boat to the bedpost and told that man, I don't care what you do, you're gonna run the ball. We paid $20 million to this all-star running back who is literally having the best running back season of your life ever. Like ever. Like, all he had to do was press the A button on the controller. That's all he had to do. So I don't give that man no credit at all. I hate his scheme. He runs a option scheme, if y'all don't know, which means like the quarterback and the receiver don't actually know how the play is going to end up, because now you have them thinking independently, and that's why Dak had his like worst turnover season of all time. I keep going back to that Green Bay game when it was a too high look, and it's a post route, but he can either turn a post into a post or to a corner, and he turned it into a corner, and Dak threw it into a post, and he throws it right to the safety, and it's a pick, and everyone's making fun of Dak. Oh, Dak. No, he got his players thinking independently when they should all, and he also takes what the defense gives him and adjusts off that. It's a very passive scheme. So what do I think he's going to do in New Orleans? Nothing. He's not Sean Payton. I'm sorry. Drew Brees is not there. So you're counting on him to develop a young quarterback of some sort. He's not going to rely on the run game. What is his defense going to look like? What is the talent even looking like in New Orleans to begin with? And you're asking him to be a franchise builder with some type of culture? I don't see it at all.
Yeah, I don't see. I heard that they were begging dudes to take that job. Someone I know in the media said they begged Cliff Kingsbury to take that job, and he took his hat out of the conversation.
There were multiple people who took their name out.
Please take it, please.
Mike McCarthy. I mean, he doesn't even have a job right. Does he have a job right now?
No, he said I'd rather go back to the barn.
Kellen said, "Let me go ahead and run this." Kellen said, "Let me go run this checkup for a couple years. They got to pay me even if they fire me."
That's true. That's true. Just take it. He's still very young, so
he's been fiending for a head coaching job. He been trying to look for this for 4 years now.
Yeah.
So
hold on, who was his quarterback the other time? Justin Herbert and Dak Prescott
and Jalen,
and it took Jalen to get him a head coaching.
Okay.
No, it took Jalen with AJ Brown, Devonta Smith.
No, it took the Saints. It took the Saints being a very desperate team because they had nobody left.
Thank God Cliff ain't take that dumbass job.
Smart man.
Now, I respect Cliff. I respect these guys who understand that some coordinator jobs are just better than some head coaching jobs, despite the increase in pay. There's something to be said about sticking around with these coordinating jobs that put you in a much better position, because some of these jobs, fellas, as you all know, I mean, you're signing up for basically a firing in 2 years, guaranteed. That's just the way it seems to go.
Yeah, man. No way I'm taking that Saints job over.
Get that money and go, though.
You got to be smart, though, because if you stay, you also can end up like your guy Bobby Slowick. You know, was on top of the world last
year,
and
they scapegoated him too.
I know.
And now this man is an analyst somewhere, man. Like it's crazy.
But
he got picked up on somebody's staff like yesterday.
That Slowick thing makes sense. Who is that, Kellen?
Yeah, Kellen would have been fine with the talent in Philly again.
Well, I think you're looking around like Robert Saleh just got rehired by San Francisco. Like you mentioned, KB, Kellen's young enough where when this inevitably does fail, he'll be back on a roster ASAP. But, you know, sometimes when Cliff already had his stint as a head coach and he saw, you know, the trials and tribulations of it, right? Kellen hasn't.
And I kept telling people about Cliff, like, the Cardinals extended him before they fired him. He's being paid through 2027 as a head coach. Why would he rush to leave Jaden Daniels when he's being paid as a head coach to be here right now? I'm going to wait until something perfect comes to me because I don't have to be anywhere else right now. He's one of the highest paid OCs, and he's making head coach money. He is living a dream right now.
No doubt about it. He's living the dream. Al's living the dream. All of Eagles Nation's living the dream. The Super Bowl recap is in the books, and we enter into the offseason. And, fellas, even though we're only a week into it, never too early for bold predictions. And that's going to be the theme of our next episode coming later in your week, where all four of the fellas in front of you are going to give their bold predictions heading into the offseason as to what you can expect from each four teams in the NFC East. On the way out the door from this one, like button if you could, subscribe button if you could, and head on over to BetUS and utilize that promo code YouTube150. For Rio, KB, Lou, and another congratulations to Al and all of the Eagles fans tuning in. I'm your host, Zbot. Thanks so much for tuning into the NFC East Roundtable, and we'll see you on the next one.
Yeah.
Yep.